roller coasters, no ice cream cones, no video games out here. Yet, you know, there isn't an amusement park around that can top nature when it comes to kids. This week on Trailside, we're going to show you how to go family camping.
Cavers call these passages squeezes, for obvious reasons. This one's a little tighter than most. I had to take my helmet off to get through this one. Wonder what Houdini would have done coming through something like this. Hi, I'm John Veman. Join me in West Virginia's Oregon Cave as we make our own adventure on Trailside.
Funding for Trailside is made possible in part by Chevy Trucks, who reminds you that it's possible to have fun outdoors and still leave Mother Nature with a smile on her face, too. And LL Bean, providing sporting gear and apparel for people who love the outdoors for over 80 years. And High-Tech Sports, who invite you to enjoy the great outdoors and follow the trail to adventure.
To the untrained eye, this looks like rolling farmland, but to the geologist, this is classic cave country. One of the first clues is that while this area obviously gets plenty of rain, there are no above-ground streams. Well, the water's here, it's just running underground. Another clue is the limestone, a water-soluble rock that's found throughout the area. But the real clincher are these sinkholes, natural depressions that funnel water underground. In this part of West Virginia, caves are everywhere. In fact, we're standing within 30 minutes drive of 10 of the longest caves in the United States. Cavers like to think of themselves as an eccentric bunch, and the two experts with me today are no exception. Between them, they have over 50 years caving experience, having dropped into caves from Romania to Mexico. Hey, nice of you to drop in.
Hey, John.
Dave Culver is a cave biologist. And Bill Jones is a hydrologist studying water as it travels through rocks. Both of them teach at American University in Washington, D.C., and both are avid cavers. Well, Bill, tell me on a nice day like this, what is it that makes you want to go underground anyway?
Well, it's going to be a hot West Virginia afternoon. The cave will have a constant 52-degree temperature, and it'll be nice to take advantage of the free air conditioning.
Oh, that's really cool, isn't it? Hey, well, you've got a route picked out for us, right, Dave?
Yeah, we're going to go to Oregon Cave. It's a really great cave. It's one of the longest caves in the United States. It's nearly 40 miles long. We'll go in one entrance and out another.
Great.
Mostly crawl between them, some walking, and we'll probably get lost a couple of times.
I hope not too many times. Well, is there anything else I need to know before we head out?
Well, we need to go over the equipment. We'll start with the single most important item, which is a light. This is an older style carbide light. Yes, this is the fuel for the traditional caver's light. We put calcium carbide in the bottom, water in the top. We drip water down onto the carbide, which generates acetylene gas.
How much fuel will that be?
This is 1.5 to 2.5 hours, depending on how bright a flame you're burning.
Now, is there any advantage to that over an electric headlamp such as this one?
Well, this is a warm diffuse flame, which is very easy to walk with in a cave. This light is better in wet conditions or on a rope, for example.
Now this helmet, this is a caving helmet, but it looks a lot like a climbing helmet. It's even got the scratches like one.
It is a rock climbing helmet. It's modified for caving by the addition of the lamp brackets. You always want to have a light that will fit on the helmet so you can have both hands free.
Sure. And you've got the same suspension system. Well, what's this? You've got a, what's this, space blanket?
Yes, that's for emergency bivouacs.
That's an interesting pack you've got, Dave. Now, what kind of a pack is that?
Well, this is a standard caver's pack, John. As you can see, we don't usually carry it on our backs. We carry it on our sides. It's a lot more compact that way, and we can move through small crawlways. It has the other advantage, if it gets really tight, we unhook it like this, and then put it out in front of us, and we can push it through like that.
Oh, yeah. Now this is what you have inside the pack right down here?
Yeah, no, what we start with are the 3 sources of light that we should always carry.
Mm-hmm. Flashlight?
Flashlight, carbide light. Here are the
extra candle.
And here's the extra carbide.
Now, how much fuel is that?
That's enough for about 24 hours.
That's a lot.
And that's a bag for the spent carbide. And we have a repair kit here.
Oh, duct tape, I recognize that.
Here's a compass and a whistle for emergency whistles.
Yep.
Here is a map of where we're going tomorrow.
Oh yeah, you can see it right there.
And here's some water that we have for drinking in the cave. We shouldn't drink the cave water without treating it first.
Yeah, but hydration isn't a real big problem.
No, it's not a real big problem in a cave. But there is one more thing that we need to do.
Okay.
Let's go over here and take a look at this.
Ascending a rope is an essential part of caving with its own special techniques. While rock climbers climb rock with the help of a rope, cavers climb the rope itself. Now there are a number of systems you can use. This one's called a rope walker. It's a very efficient, hands-free way to climb a rope. What do you think, Dave? Should I come down now?
Bring him down, Bill.
Well, that's a lot of fun. You know, this hardware has a lot in common with climbing, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does. There's a couple of important differences. The first one is this chest harness here.
Mm-hmm.
This is critical to the rope walker system.
Yep.
Keeps the rope right in next to you.
Mm-hmm.
And the other difference, which isn't so obvious, is the rope itself.
Yep.
This is a non-stretch or static rope, and
Yep.
climbers use a stretching or dynamic rope.
Oh, yeah.
But there's one thing that both climbers and cavers still use, and that's a non-mechanical emergency knot
Oh, yeah.
called a prusik knot.
Mm-hmm.
The prusik knot, if you slide it up, it goes up, and if you pull on it, it doesn't come down.
Oh, so that works just like an ascender.
Exactly the same principle.
On rope! Rock! I'm rappelling into the cave using a device called a rack. As you can see, the rope weaves its way over these brake bars, and the more brake bars you use, the closer together, the more friction there is. The more friction, the slower you would descend the rope. Now, you don't have to be a stuntman to rappel into a cave. The equipment does all the heavy work. But there are a couple important things to keep in mind. One is before you get your weight onto the rope, double check your brake bars to make sure they're not backwards. And second, never let go of the rope with your brake hand. That's your control. Now let's get underground. Boy, you can really feel that cool air coming out of the cave down here. You know, caves really do conjure up images of ghosts, vampire bats, tombs, even science fiction novels like Jules Verne's Journey to the Center of the Earth. The fiction, however, is nothing like the reality. Well, Dave, how far before we see China down here?
Well, we're not going to see China today. The fact is, the deepest cave in the world only scratches the surface, and it's only 5,000 feet. And even at the bottom, it's still well above sea level. The entrance to Oregon Cave that we're going in here, it's only about 300 feet deep, so that'll be the deepest we'll be going today.
Okay, well, how about vampire bats? We got any of those?
Well, sorry, no vampire bats either, but we do have some bats, and we have a lot of other interesting things to see. So why don't we come along? Bill, you want to lead?
Okay, let's get
Okay,
going.
we're going to start with the crawl on this ledge, so watch your step.
You guys really like to get right into the mud, don't you?
Yeah, well, then you don't get demoralized about getting dirty later on.
Yeah.
We're coming up on a drop here.
Looks like we may be coming up to Oregon Mainstream.
Okay.
I think so.
Hey, when did they discover this cave, anyway?
Well, they knew about it in the 18th century because they dug out the bones of a giant ground sloth, sent it to Thomas Jefferson, and then it got described as Megalonyx jeffersoni.
Oh, jeez. Well, that's a name only a cave biologist could remember.
But most of the people went in the cave in the 19th century were looking for saltpeter, which is potassium nitrate.
Oh.
And they mined it to make gunpowder for the War of 1812. Now, the formula for gunpowder is 7 parts saltpeter and 5 parts sulfur, 5 parts charcoal.
Huh.
Then they also mined saltpeter for the Civil War, too.
Oregon Cave gives you a chance to try out just about every kind of caving technique. When the walls come together, you can try some chimneying. And there's plenty of low ceilings. You got lots of times you gotta crawl. And sometimes you even have to make it up. But the best way to get through it is to pace yourself, plan your moves, and try not to move too fast. You know, parts of it are muddy, so resign yourself to that. Gloves, knee pads, and a heavy nylon caving suit help a lot. The suit offers a lot of protection when you get into the rocky parts, and there's no outer pockets to catch on anything. And every now and then, you just have to have a leap of faith.
Hey, Bill, did you find a way around the squeeze?
Not yet, I'm still looking.
Now, we call this the West Virginia Turnpike.
Oh yeah, I didn't see this on the road map coming in.
No, and there aren't any guardrails either, but there's some nice handholds up here.
Okay. See, it's a one-laner too, huh?
Yeah, it changes direction in the evening. Well, now we're to the squeeze.
Uh-huh. Well, that looks like a fun one.
The trick here is to take your pack off and start thinking small. Whatever you do, just keep thinking small. Put one arm out in front of you and one arm behind you.
Okay.
And just push your pack and move slowly.
Yeah.
And to use your feet.
Okay.
Now, we're lucky this time. We're going downhill, which is good news if we can get through, but real bad news if we can't.
Okay, you're sure we can get through this one, Dave?
Well, we'll find out real soon. These things are miserable. You also have to garden them, which is moving the rocks aside. It looks like it's opening up here now.
Okay.
Should be okay. How you holding up, John?
Well, I think I'm all right, but I am gonna hold final judgment until we get out of this place.
Well, I think I see the dark at the end of the tunnel.
That's good.
You down there, Bill?
Yep, I found the bypass and walked around.
Well, aren't you lucky?
Boy, hey, you take a lot of students down here. Do you ever have problems with claustrophobic people?
No, really, the claustrophobic students stop right at the entrance. They get this far, the big problem is that they tend to wander off and then get lost, and then we have to try to track them down. How'd you like your first squeeze?
Not too bad if you're toothpaste, I guess. It's nice to be out of there, though. Oh, I like this. Look at the chamber. There must be about 3 different ways out of here. How do you know where to go?
Well, there are, but the first thing you do is you look back where you've been. We've been looking back because really a cave's twice as long as it appears on a map, and it looks really different, as you've seen, going one way as it is the other.
Yeah.
And you can't even see the squeeze now. But we can see Bill sitting down over there, so we just need to wind our way down.
Okay.
Now, if Bill weren't there, what we should have been doing was using a map from the start of the trip. We get to this point, we pull out the map, know where we were on the map, pull out our compass, and then we'd head off to the right here.
Now, what if you got separated from your group and became disoriented? What would you recommend
Well,
doing
first
then?
thing you should do is sit down, calm down. Then you should build some kind of a marker and try to retrace your steps back to known passage. If that doesn't work, you go back to the marker and do little forays back and forth, trying to figure out where you are.
Okay.
And if all else fails, for heaven's sakes, stay in one spot. Sit down, wait for someone to come and look for you.
Okay. You ever been lost in a cave, Bill?
Not really, but once I was awfully confused for about 12 hours.
You know, I bet that's what all the cavers say.
No, some of them get confused even longer.
It's like we got another hill here, huh?
Yes, and I'm afraid my lamp's getting pretty low, too. I'm gonna have to stop and change. This always happens in a nasty place.
Yeah. Light is the caver's lifeline, and that lifeline comes in many shapes and sizes. Before we came down here, we took a closer look and found out that there's more to light than just flipping a switch. It's not that I'm afraid of the dark, but 2 steps into any cave, and you realize you can't take another step without a good light. The caver's choice are headlamps. This is a more traditional headlamp system. It's a carbide light. The fuel source is fairly inexpensive and fairly lightweight. But to tell you the truth, the fumes can be pretty smelly, and in a tight space, I don't want to be around this thing. Let's just set that over here. A system that's been developed by miners uses a rechargeable battery pack. It's very bright. Batteries last up to 12 hours, but they weigh a ton. A system that's been developed for more general purposes are these battery-powered lights. This one uses 4 AA batteries and lasts up to 6 hours. Camper's choice is this lighter version, which uses 2 AAs and lasts up to 2 hours. Now, whenever you're caving, you should have at least 3 sources of light. And that means 2 good backup systems. And that's a flashlight and a pocket light. Beyond that, don't forget to bring extra batteries and extra bulbs. Oh, check this out.
Oh, it's another survey marker.
Yeah. I think while we've got that, I'm going to reference where we are on this map. Topographic maps, you know, I don't think I'll ever get used to reading these cave maps. Let me see. Oh, yeah. They're right in here somewhere.
Yeah, now the trick on these is to try to think 3-dimensionally, because this shows you the direction the passage is going, and the little arrows show you where the stream is. This funny shaped thing here shows you the cross-sectional shape of the passage there.
Right, and that number is...
And that number, which I always look at very carefully, is ceiling height, so I like to have that double digits at least.
Now, what are these black spots
Well,
down
that
here?
just indicates solid rock, and that and the map is very complicated there, so they have to indicate that somehow.
Yeah, now look at this. They've got all this kind of spaghetti, like caves crossing each other.
Yeah, that's piled up on top of each other. In this area of the cave, actually, they need 2 maps to show all of the passages, so there's another whole layer of maps that are on top of this. So it really does look like spaghetti.
Yeah, well, let's move on.
Here's an example of rimstone.
Oh, yeah.
This forms in a pool of highly mineralized water as calcite is precipitated out along the edges and builds up this dam.
So this whole cave was created by water then?
That's right. The calcite formations that we're working our way around now are formed by this mineralized water flowing down the walls or dripping from the ceiling and leaving behind the calcite.
So how old is the cave then?
The cave itself is probably 2 to 4 million years old.
Really?
The earliest part of the cave we can see up in the ceiling where slightly acidic groundwater entered along natural joints and fractures in the rock and worked its way down, cutting this channel. So the history of this channel and development is very well preserved.
And those calcite draperies back there, that looked like an organ pipe. That's where the name of the cave came from?
That's correct. The rock that the cave is developed in is about 340 million years old. John, we're coming up on a formation area here. The top's already been broken out of this one stalagmite, so be real careful.
Oh, yeah. That's really tragic. Time really does move slowly in a cave. The beauty that you find here took thousands of years to take shape. These unusual formations, flowstone, stalactites, stalagmites, while not living organisms, are continually growing. And if you damage them, you'll disrupt forever that fragile subterranean environment that you work so hard to discover. And no one else will see it the way you've seen it. So leave the cave the way you found it. Oh, there's some great flowstone up here.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Dave, isn't a cave biologist some kind of oxymoron? I haven't seen any living things up here.
Well, it's not really an oxymoron. There's quite a bit of stuff to see. I'll show you down here a little farther on.
Okay. I take it all back, Dave. There is life down here. At least it looks like there was once. What's that, some kind of a bat skeleton?
No, what it is a frog, and the frog must have wandered in and then died, couldn't find its way out because it doesn't normally live here.
Really?
But things like that are a major source of food for the animals that do live in caves. It's incredibly barren around here, and there's no plant life, and so animals that live here depend on animals that wander in. They depend upon the droppings of animals that go out periodically, like bats. And the animals that live in streams just depend upon the little bit of leaf material that gets washed in with a stream. Now, I think it's real interesting that there are 12 species of animals in this cave that are limited to caves.
Really?
Now, luckily, we can find some stuff in a pool like this.
I don't see anything in there.
If you look around and you stay quiet for a second and then blow on the water like that.
Now, why are you blowing on the water?
Well, they respond to vibrations, and these animals come up to find out what the vibration is. Remember, they can't see, so I grab something there, and I pull it out.
Oh, well, look at that.
And what you have there are some amphipods, or freshwater shrimp. Now, these animals invaded caves about 800,000 years ago, and we know that from a study of their genes.
No kidding.
And these are probably the most common of the animals in Oregon Cave.
Okay, there's a lot of loose rocks up here, so be careful.
Well, you aren't kidding
Well,
about
I tell you,
that.
it's nasty up here.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't know whether to look down or look at the wall, get claustrophobic or agoraphobic. It's really tough to know.
well, I'm gonna get off of this ledge, so watch what you kick down on top of me.
Okay.
Well, I'm watching. It's big stuff.
Thanks.
Sure glad I didn't have to set the rope on this climb out. Hey, what's the longest climb out of a cave you've had?
1,100 feet from a pit in Mexico.
Really? How long did that one take you?
About an hour and a half, and I was 20 years younger then.
John, does the rope feel slippery?
No, it feels pretty good. I think we managed to keep it pretty dry coming through the cave. You know, one of the things about climbing in a cave is mud. And while these ascenders are a great invention, they can sometimes get clogged and slip a little bit. So I always carry a backup. How much farther there, Dave?
About 30 feet.
Okay, coming at you.
Okay, just keep coming up. Now, it's just like an elevator if you come up the right way, and it's sure not like an elevator if you don't.
Okay.
And when you get up here a little bit, try to face out toward the main part of the passage. That's right. Okay, now try to turn. That's right. Okay, just another step up. Use your right hand and grab up there on the right. That's right. Okay, use your left hand. Keep climbing the rope. Okay. Take another step. Okay, you got it.
All right, I see daylight.
Well, then it must be time for me to start practicing up on my Chinese.
Worse than that, try West Virginian.
Bill, I hope you got permission to come out this way.
Yeah, but thanks for reminding me. They wanted us to check in when we got out.
Well, who owns the cave anyway?
Well, the ownership is complicated, but what's important is who owns the entrances. So this entrance is owned by Mr. Deems. So that's who Bill had to talk to get permission.
Okay.
Boy, it always feels good to get out in the open air after a long cave trip.
Yeah, nice warm air, too. 1/5 of the Earth is potential cave country. And as we're finding out here in Oregon Cave, one of the longest systems in North America, You don't have to be an astronaut to find a new world if you're willing to go underground. See you next time on another Trailside. Hey guys, I see another sinkhole up over here. What do you think? Tomorrow morning, first thing?
Yeah, looks good.
Wonder what that one will be like.
Well, that's the easy entrance. We weren't going to take you there.
Oh, that was nice, you guys.
Looks like we may be coming up to Oregon Mainstream.
Okay.
I think so. How do you want to rig this?
I don't know, how about a knotted rope?
I think we can jump it. It's only 30 feet.
Isn't a cave biologist some kind of oxymoron? I haven't seen any living things up here.
Well, it's not really an oxymoron. There's quite a bit of stuff to see. I'll show you down here a little farther on.
Okay.
Now, we're lucky this time. We're going downhill, which is good news if we can get through. Real bad news if we can't.
Okay, you're sure we can get through this one, Dave?
Well, we'll find out real soon.
You ever been lost in a cave, Bill?
Not really, but once I was awfully confused for about 12 hours.
Jeez. You know, I bet that's what all the cavers say.
No, some of them get confused even longer. Now, we call this the West Virginia Turnpike.
Oh yeah, I didn't see this on the road map coming in.
No, and there aren't any guardrails either. But there's some nice handholds up here.
Okay. See, it's a one-laner, too. Huh?
Yeah, it changes direction in the evening.
Funding for Trailside is made possible in part by Chevy Trucks, who reminds you that it's possible to have fun outdoors and still leave Mother Nature with a smile on her face, too. And LL Bean, providing sporting gear and apparel for people who love the outdoors for over 80 years. And High Tech Sports, who invite you to enjoy the great outdoors and follow the trail to adventure.
Guys, we're about ready to come in and block this thing out and do it.
Wouldn't mind doing one more.
You wouldn't mind doing another one?
Do the wild sound right
Do
now,
this
though.
wild track right here. And
Rolling.
You want me to be walking?
52, take 2.
All speed. Quiet, please. And action.
It's not that I'm afraid of the dark, but 2 steps into any cave, and you realize you can't take another step without a good head. Sorry.
Blow it out and let's go again.
Speed.
And John, wait 2 beats after he lights it. And action.
To make a trailside show out of caving presented challenges that we hadn't encountered before. Now, the caver's choice are headlamps. This particular headlamp is a carbide light. It really stinks. That's perfect! Just don't lie so hard. When I told friends that I was going to spend a week in a cave, the reactions were pretty predictable. In a word or two, they'd say, "What for?" After seeing the show, a lot of them, well, they still say that. But they love watching me squeeze through it all. I didn't know quite what to expect when I went into a cave, to be quite honest. This was one experience I hadn't tried prior to becoming the host of Trailside. I was surprised most of all, and this sounds a little bit silly, by the darkness. It was what I describe as a darkness you can feel as you inhale the air. It just runs all the way through your body. Cavers like to think of themselves as an eccentric bunch, and the 2 experts with me today are no exception. They have over 50 years caving experience between them, having dropped into caves from Romania to Mexico. Dave Culver is a cave biologist, and
Looks like it. Action.
cavers like to think of themselves as an eccentric bunch, and the 2 experts with me today are no exception. Between them, they have over 50 years of caving experience, having dropped into caves from Romania to Mexico.
Hey, John.
Hey, Dave Culver is a cave biologist. And this is Bill.
Still running? Yep. Good. And action.
Cavers like to think of themselves as an eccentric bunch, and the 2 experts with me today are no exception. Between them, they have over 50 years caving experience, having dropped into caves from Romania to Mexico. Dave Culver is a cave
John.
biologist. Hi, Dave. And Bill Jones is,
Hello, John.
if I can remember this name.
Looks like it. Hey, and action.
Cavers like to think of themselves as an eccentric bunch, and the two experts with me today are no exception. Between them, they have over 50 years caving experience, having dropped into caves from Romania to Mexico. Dave Culver.
Hey, John.
Dave is a cave biologist. And this is Bill Jones.
Okay.
I did enjoy the physical nature of caving, however. There's not many what I'd call muscle moves to deal with, but you're moving the whole time. Of course, at times it's on your belly, your back, your head, your hands. Hopefully, in the caves you might encounter, there are long stretches in between where you're actually on your feet. The features of a cave are really quite intriguing. Up close, you'll never see these formations anywhere else except in a cave.
Move the monitor, yeah, or turn that to the right one. With the monitor.
Consider that cameraman Jeff Wayman had to squeeze through ahead of me in a lot of those tight shots. Well, Jeff deserves some bonus points for that one. Also, know that to see us on camera, we had to bring additional lighting down into the cave. And we used motorcycle batteries to power our lights since they were very compact and held the charge for a pretty good length of time. But the light you see on the show in the cave is actually unnatural. If I were there with just the light of Dave, Bill, and my helmet lamps, you'd see just bouncing spots of light weaving across the screen with maybe an occasional face if we happened to face one another and the light shone on our face. Some passageways, the really tight, twisty ones, didn't make it onto the show for a lot of the technical reasons of just trying to shoot them. But those parts were the most intriguing for me. And to show you that special part of caving, well, as we say every episode on Trailside, that's your cue to make your own adventure.
Wow.
Nice. It's real nice when you work for it.
When I grab this handhold up here, if I pull straight down on it, it's not gonna do me much good. Grabbing it and pulling sideways on it, turning it into a lie back, feels pretty positive. Now as I approach this corner, I'm gonna use a technique we call stemming. Just basically using opposing pressures. Keep yourself on. A lot of people don't like hand jamming. I don't mind it because it gives me a second to rest.
Well, that looks real relaxing, Paul.
Well, maybe not real relaxing, but it's a little bit of a rest.
Is it safe to drink the water in the forest?
Yeah, it's pretty safe to drink the water, but I use iodine crystals. I've been carrying around for 15 years now, and they work great. What do you use?
I use a filter. I know it's some extra weight, but I just don't like the taste of iodine in my water.
Well, I don't like the extra weight.
You want the boat to be snug, but not tight. There is a difference there. Can you
Oh, yeah.
kind of feel the boat?
Yep. Real nice and snug.
Okay.
And here This keyhole cockpit really lets you get in and out easily, doesn't it?
In and out access. It's real easy, you bet.
Yep.
And let me get a paddle for you, size you to the paddle as well.
Okay, I'll just adjust this foot brace. It seems a little bit tight. Yeah, there we go.
All right, for the paddle, we want you to have your hands about 1 hand width away from the throat of the blade here. Why don't you go ahead and put your hand in there.
There you go.
You can feel that it's not a round shaft, it's ovalized or indexed. That's so that your hands have a point of reference when you're upside down or maybe in some really heavy turbulent water.
Okay.
Okay, and with your hands in the proper position, just go ahead and put this over your head.
Right.
Set it down there, and then you want about a 90-degree angle here.
Okay.
They do come in different lengths, but this one looks like about the right length for you.
Yeah, feels real good.
Okay, good. Now, you've been in here a few minutes. Does it feel tight anywhere?
It feels real good in here, good support. Got lots of room for my feet.
Right.
Seems a little bit tight in here. Is there anything we can do there?
You bet. We can just shave some foam down. Why don't you go ahead and get right back out here and just take some sandpaper and just shave the foam down.
Hey, show me what's in your bag anyway. I'm kind of curious to see what kind of
this pile of stuff?
Yeah, what kind of camera equipment you're packing with you.
It's a nice little rig for up here in the Boundary Waters. This is my 300 for shooting wildlife. I've got a strobe unit. Second body with a 20mm wide-angle lens for doing extreme landscapes.
Sure.
An 80 to 200 zoom. Another body, 35 to 70 short zoom. Light meter, spare batteries, filters. And a pocket on the other side here, I got 20 rolls of film.
No kidding, you sure that's enough?
Well, with the other 60 in my pack, it should be just great.
Jeez.
What have you got? Let's see what you got.
Well, I don't have quite the artillery you do. I'm traveling light, but I do have lots of film. 4 rolls in here.
Oh, that ought to hold you until we get to the other side of the lake anyway. What else have you got?
Let's see, I've got 35 to 70 zoom here.
That's great for landscape.
Yeah, 70 to 210 zoom here, and I've just got 1 camera body with me.
I hope we see a moose. Good, serious amateur outfit.
I'll bet there's some happy bees in this field of fireweed.
No, the fireweed blooms from the bottom of the stalk to the top. And they say that when the last blooms have come out at the very top of the stalk, that the snow will fall.
Looks like we got a couple months anyway, huh?
Well, the end of August, I think. I think what I did is I hit that rock pretty hard, and I probably got what's called a pinch flat, and that means I actually compressed the rim all the way onto the tube. And so I probably have 2 holes in this tube. But just in case there's a thorn in there, maybe you could check that while I get my other tube out.
Okay.
Rather than patch this one, I think I'll just put in a new one and patch that when I get to camp. So
Get all the sand out of here and...
yeah, I'll try to get most of it out of there anyway. Make sure there's no thorns in there. Good thing to remember when you're changing a flat is to put a little bit of air in your tube before you reinsert it in the rim here. So, okay, so there's nothing in there. You felt around with your hands pretty good and
Feels good to me.
okay, great. Now a lot of people use a tire lever to put their tires back on, which is just a little device that you can hook under the rim here that helps you. But typically most mountain bikes, you know, the tires fit loose enough where you can just pop it in with your hand, just like that. So, so there you go. I think I'll go over here and lean this against your bike and pump it up a little bit. So.
Hi, I'm John Veman. The Cherokees named this place the Land of Blue Smoke. Next on Trailside, we'll be backpacking and camping in one of the most beautiful settings in North America, the Great Smoky Mountains.